Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Finding It with Father podcast. I am Father Jose Alvarez. I am the pastor of Epiphany Catholic Church in Miami, Florida. For those of you who may not be from the parish or the local area and are tuning into this broadcast, and I am delighted to be with you on this journey. I've been actually wanting to do this podcast for a while, and I'm glad that I could finally get around to it. But, you know, as we begin, I want to bring your attention to a particular song that you may remember. Many of you may remember. It was a big hit back in 1987. The great band U2 put that hit out. It was actually, I think, one of their first big hits. And it was called I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. You may remember it. And, you know, the music was fantastic. I mean, it had just a great vibe. And the lyrics were, you know, they packed a punch. They were very, very meaningful. And they said something along the lines of, as I loosely remember, right? I've climbed the highest mountain. I've run through the hills. I think that's what the first verse said. I've scaled these city walls only to be with you. And then came the title of the song. Then they sang, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I almost feel like breaking into song here with you, but they do it a lot better than I would. So I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Listen, I think that the song was clearly a great hit, not just because it was very well done. I mean, music was great, lyrics were very meaningful, but it really described something that all of us can relate to, because that's us. We're all still trying to find something that we're looking for. All of us. Doesn't matter, you know, where we come from. Doesn't matter where we were born. Doesn't matter what our educational level is. Doesn't matter what economic bracket we may particularly belong to. It doesn't even matter what, you know, faith we profess or don't profess. Every single human being is trying to find something they're looking for, And what is that? What is that? It's it. It's the it factor. You know, how would we define that? Well, you know, I'm trying to find it. Listen, I think it's got a lot to do with life, feeling fully alive, finding joy and not just, mini joy, hopefully lasting joy, finding inspiration, finding hope, finding creativity, feeling that, all is possible, being fully alive. That's what it is. True life. And if we think about that, which I just described, what we're all really trying to find is God. Because all those qualities describe who God is. Those are the trademarks of God. God is life. He's the creator. So he's got everything to do with creativity. All creativity flows from him. God is an ocean of endless horizons, endless possibilities. God is love. God is peace. God is inspiring. I can go on and on and on. So we're trying to find it. And we're trying to find God, really. And the purpose of this podcast is to help you precisely find the presence of God in everything and anything that you may encounter, because he's there. He's constantly there in the midst of it all. You know, the joys, the big moments, the struggles, the challenges, the moments that may seem mundane. He's there in the important topics, the important realities that we confront. He's there in the casual things that are part of our daily life, in our hobbies. He's there in our pastimes. He's there in nature. He's there in our headaches. He's there in our moments of being overwhelmed. He's there in the midst of the mysteries which constantly unfold before us. And that is, by the way, trying to find and to respond, to embrace, respond to the presence of God in the midst of all of this, in the midst of everyday life. That really is what the spiritual life is. A lot of times we have very reduced notion of what the spiritual life or what spirituality really is, and we tend to we tend to just limit it to what we do when we go to church, what we do when we worship, when we celebrate a sacrament, or when we pray, whether we do that with others or we do that individually. We tend to limit it at times to works of charity that we might do, and clearly all those things are a big part of the spiritual life. They're foundational to the spiritual life, but the spiritual life is a lot more. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot broader than that. God doesn't abandon us when we're doing something else or when we're going through something else. Spiritual life is all about, being in front of the Blessed Sacrament, to walking your dog, to doing the dishes, to trying to figure out solutions to challenges at work, to parenting, to how we live out our marriage, to so much more, to the things that we really enjoying our sports, enjoying our pastimes, even shopping can be part of our spiritual lives, but I don't want to encourage you too much there. In any case, we're delighted again to be able to do this, and what an adventure for me as a priest to be able to help you explore all this in your own life. Hopefully I can. Hopefully this podcast will do you some good. And, we carry out this podcast thanks to the sponsorship that we have and the efforts of many others. If you're not familiar with Epiphany Parish in Miami, we're a large parish in South Miami with a very large school. We've got about 930 kids here in the school. That's quite a few. Large faculty, large grounds, a lot of buildings. And, the parish was founded in 1951. The school was founded shortly thereafter in 1953. And, clearly anything that was built around that time, even though, everything in Florida, whatever may be historical in Florida and other parts of the country may be considered, baby stuff, because our history doesn't go back as far back as some other areas. But clearly anything that is 60, 70 years old or so, needs some renovation, needs some tender, loving care. And I can tell you that in recent years, we've tried to do our due diligence with that. We've renovated the oldest building in our school, which is huge, the south wing of our school, which is where it's now what we call our pre-K wing. That's where all the real little people spend the day. And that was quite an undertaking. We redid, we renovated, we actually created a new reception area for the school. We are practically completing our parish hall, which dates all the way back to the inception of the parish. We've created a wonderful courtyard for pre-K children. And and there are other upgrades. Running a school these days and dealing with the parish these days demands resources, security, technical resources, IT resources that weren't even in play ages ago. And clearly, all of that, thanks be to God, we're very blessed with the resources that we have in the parish and the wonderful parent and parish community that we have, which is very, very generous. But clearly, all those things cost money. Money doesn't grow on trees. And so we're not stopping there. You have to be proactive with any institution that you're trying to further along. And there are future projects in mind. There are other renovations that need to take place. I have, a few tricks up my sleeve, God willing. And so we are soliciting sponsorship for this podcast in order to strengthen our reserves, make them more robust, and make all those renovations, make all those new creations possible. So we're very grateful for the sponsors, profoundly grateful for the sponsors that we currently have, and we invite you, if you wish to be a sponsor, we have a sponsorship package that our wonderful parent guild here at school has put together. You can see the package on your screen right now, the options, the sponsorship options that are available. There are other elite options available, and if you wish to become a sponsor at any of those levels or at the elite sponsorship level and you wish to inquire about those, all you need to do is email Denise Roca, who is coordinating all of our sponsorship, and you can email her at the address you see on your screen, which reads Denise Roca at me.com. And we thank Denise and all the others that are so involved behind the scenes in making all of this come about. And again, we thank our wonderful elite sponsors that we already have that are helping us to launch this forward. Now, in our next episode, and I want you to be on the lookout for it, I am going to focus on the richest person that I have met since I have been here at Epiphany. I've been here about 5.5 years now, and that'll give you food for thought, no doubt. You might be guessing, well, who is the richest person here at Epiphany? And you might think of certain names and whatnot. What you're probably clearly thinking is, well, I know it's not me, and I can tell you that it's not me either. But I'm going to identify who the richest person I've met at Epiphany is at our next podcast. And it's not, listen, I'm not going to give you, it's not I'm not going to give you some wild scheme. It's not going to be Porky Pig or Mickey Mouse or any fictional character. No, I am going to give you a first and last name. I'll even flash a picture of who this person is. So, be on the lookout for that. And of course, I'll talk about what being the richest person is really all about, what that can mean for us. So in the meantime, thank you for joining us. God bless to you. And as you journey along, try to keep finding it. And we'll catch you next time.